All right, YouTubers. I planned to do a ramble, but something else came up, and then I realized I was on this little bitty camping trip, and I didn't do anything but show food and cats. But it's got cold. Not as bad a storm as a lot of people got, but it was cold and icy, so I ended up staying an extra day just because I didn't want to drive this thing. So what I will ramble about is Cousin Eddie. My wonderful RV is 20 years old, and there's always something. There's just always something. And this time I was filling up the airbag, and it just stopped. But at first I thought it was maybe I just blew a fuse or something like that, but the light was staying on, and I got back in where I could and fiddled with the wires, and if I moved them around, the light would come in and out. But I'm pretty sure it's not that. I checked under the hood where the pump is. This is the air compressor, and in the coming days I'll figure out if this is the problem. Basically that fills it up with air, because this, when it sits, it loses air in the airbags. So I tried everything I knew without a lot of tools, and no go. So I'm driving back, only 40 miles. When I first bought it, they didn't tell me, so I drove back like 600 miles from Missouri with no air in it. And I remember it driving great. So now I'm just going slow and trying to avoid big bumps, because it rides really low, and where are we at? And it almost bottomed out when I was backing out of a spot that was on a slope. So and even when I've had air in it before, I've had the trailer hitch hit the ground on deep bumps, because the back end hangs pretty far past the tires. So I will turn this camera around, and like I said, I only got 40 miles to go, and once I get it home and it warms up a little bit, I'll get to fiddling. I don't know why I say get to fiddling, but anyways. All right, there we go. We're at a pilot. Don't ramble too much. All right, Vincent, you're gonna get off the cooler and on my lap. And of course, everything sounds different, you know? When you think something's not 100% right, you listen, ooh, the road noise sounds different, this sounds different, yada, yada, yada. But we'll be calm. I won't show you too much, but now when I think about it, I don't know why I didn't show more of inside the RV when it was cold. It was down in the I don't think it got into the single digits, but it got cold. Here we go. Easy. Just try to avoid bumps. But again, like I was saying, I don't know why I didn't show more, because this does pretty decent when it's cold. I ran just a small space heater, electric space heater. I did turn the furnace on a few times to try to catch up to the cold, you know, and that helped. But I've said 100 times, that darn heated mattress pad changes everything. And the cats were hanging close on it. They were enjoying it too. But I had dehumidifiers. I think I had 2 of them running, and still pretty much all my windows on the inside iced up. Because, you know, you exhale and there's moisture. I tried to clean the windshield, so hopefully it doesn't look terrible. But we're gonna try to get on the highway here, and I'm gonna keep the speed, you know, probably the same as I usually do. Even though it's 70 miles an hour here, I'll stay in the 60s, mid 60s. All right, that's probably enough for now. If I think of something, I'll talk about it. GoPro, stop. I think it's funny when I'm in my car, I'm like, so many people don't go the speed limit. And when I go 63 and a 70, everybody passes me. It's a good little trip. I should have been paying closer attention to the weather, so I knew that ice was coming. But then I didn't have to get back. and I could wait another day, so I thought it best to wait out the ice. Because I don't know how many people out there have driven something like this. But ice and snow and slippery, not good. It might have some weight to it, but not good. Alright, I don't feel the need to do any time lapse, so GoPro, stop recording. Alright, I'll be honest with you, I stopped recording because a whole fleet of trucks were passing me, and it's embarrassing. 64, and they just won't go by you in a 70. Wah, wah, wah. But he's driving alright. There was a Mr. Policeman's. That slowed everything down. But when this hits a bump without any air, it hits hard. Otherwise, when it's smooth, it rides okay. Maybe a little less bouncy, a little more stable. I don't know. Again, whenever you're doing something like this, your mind runs with it. Makes you think this or makes you think that. But we'll see. I'll be able to fix it when I can fix it. Warms up a little bit, I might be able to do some more investigations. GoPros. Alright, this real quick little ramble might be for the wrong audience here, because I do try to group things together, but I should be a few days away from doing a thrift store run. So what I sometimes think would be cool, hold on, I was trying to be gentle through that. Give me ideas on something you would think it cool to see if I could find. You know, that doesn't mean I'm gonna buy it. If it's a new wave mini, I'm always on the lookout for those. I got some people in mind that are kind of on my list if I find one, because the latest one's already spoken for. But if you think of anything weird or cool, see if you can find this, kind of like Let's Make a Deal. You know, do you have such and such in your pocket? But yeah, I always look for Air Jordans, never seem to find them. So there's a brief silly, oh, we're doing 70. Rode okay through there. I'm gonna slow back down though, because I don't need to do that. Hope I wasn't doing 70 when that Volkswagen went flying by me, because then he'd be going super fast. He'd be going my old days fast. I try not to do more than 5 to 10 over in my car. Alright. So if you can think of anything that you might think would be cool to see if it shows up in a thrift store, that might be interesting. I had ramble topics, but now they're not in my mind anymore. I should probably take notes. I don't ever want to do anything scripted. Oh, let's wait for the lights and see if it's that Volkswagen. You got somebody. Probably not the Volkswagen, because that wasn't long enough ago to be stopped that soon. Nope, it's a different car. Oh, shockers, we're in Ohio and there's another friggin' Honda. They are everywhere. GoPros. Damn it, I just got passed by a student driver. Oh, that student driver's kind of riding somebody. People are always trying to figure out how old other people are. I did that whole thing on the boomers and Gen X and millennials and all that. I'm like Gen X. But I'm also either old, probably considered old enough that I took driver's ed in high school. You know, I didn't have to go to a company to do it. And that just made me remember there was always a car of 4 of us, you know, 3 kids and the teacher. I was always the one that had to drive on the highway because he couldn't get me to slow down. Well, and that was back, I think most of the roads around us were like 55. And I'd be driving along and he'd go, you're doing 70 again. Sorry. But I still passed. More construction. Come on over. Just gave me a message that said camera too hot. That's not good. But the new GoPro kept working fine. I was gonna throw some music in this little time lapse and I decided not to. Here's real time. All right, so Kansas City and San Francisco. I'll say Kansas City is who I would like, so that means San Francisco will win, because pretty much whoever I want to win doesn't win. And Houston Astros are a bunch of friggin' cheaters. I had long conversations on this topic. I go back to Altuve taking Chapman deep in 2017 ALCS and winning their home games really close in 7-game series. And I think they cheated last year too. But you know, if you know off speed's coming, especially like a guy like Chapman, if you know his slider's coming, and his slider is nasty, but it's slower, and you can rule out location then. You know, he throws a 105-mile-an-hour fastball, his slider's in the 90s, and if you see it start down, it's not going to cross for a strike. So that's some pretty messed up stuff, I think. And you know, Beltran, who apparently started it all, he didn't get to be the manager of the Mets. And if it turns out, I don't think he was, the way all the Yankee guys are reacting, but if it turns out he was cheating when he was with the Yankees, then anything they do is you can't do that stuff. We live in a world where everybody tolerates all kinds of stuff. I don't care who you are or what you're doing, cheating's cheating. It ain't right. I just think, I know the reason they didn't go after any of the players is because the union and which guys did cheat and which guys didn't cheat, it would be hard to prove. Uh-oh. There's a chunk of ice there. But I personally think Altuve and Bergman were definitely cheating. They deserve punishment, I think. That's why even as a Yankee fan, A-Rod, I was never an A-Rod fan. He's a cheating POS. Clemens, you know, but at the same time, like those World Series that Clemens helped get, but it ain't right. Never real Yankees. The worst would be if you ever found out Derek Jeter was cheating. That would take away all hope and respect for the values of sports. I'm pretty confident he never cheated. It wasn't his fault that kid pulled that home run in, for those of you that are actual baseball fans. He didn't do nothing. It's just sad that the players who started it aren't getting in any trouble. The manager who ignored it, didn't do anything, AJ Hinch, apparently he got mad and broke a bunch of monitors, but never told them to stop doing it, is how the report goes. Cheating is bad. And football, I mean, they cheat all the time. When they went into the baseball steroids, there's still guys in the NFL getting busted for doing steroids, and they get like a 3-game suspension. Baseball just made a much bigger deal about it, which football should too. So cheaters are bad. They should vacate that World Series title. And I don't know how much cheating the Red Sox did in 2018 to see if their title needs to be vacated. But it sure seems like the 2017 Astros, they cheated the Yankees pretty hard, and they cheated the Dodgers really hard. That's just wrong. There's my ramble. All right, now I have another memory with that U-Haul truck right there. My uncle and I drove my aunt's U-Haul all the way to San Francisco from upstate Michigan. From Traverse City all the way to San Francisco, and the damn thing died on the U-Haul lot in San Francisco. That's amazing. That's still a good story. We were pushing that thing hard all the way across the country. You know where the governor was. Alright, I think I'm closing in on the end. Got more traffic coming up, and it's always best to pay extra attention. Although I don't think it makes any difference having a camera in the window, but I'm going to say that was that trip, a cat video and some cooking. Not much of the trudging around in the half frozen, half muddy mud. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll do an update one of these days on what I figure out about this whole air ride system. But until then, I hope you have a great and wonderful day.